Welcome back to my channel. Every time I hope I'm done dealing with a specific gossip or troll channel, they almost always disappoint me. Such has repeatedly been the case with the Philippine Antics channel. Now, understand that I don't care if they prefer a certain format for their channel or have a different view about things, but I do care when they act like their personal preferences mean someone else is not doing as good a job, or act like their opinions mean someone else is less than honest. This video is going to use clips from 3 different Antics videos. The last one is the most important, but it was also the last one released, so it's at the end. In this first series of clips, Heidi says a lot of positive things about the Filipina P's videos.
That was a good one. The Filipina P went through and was talking about fact or fiction on the $500 budget, and basically broke it down that can you do it? Most Westerners cannot. So she was realistic about that, and scripted or not, she broke it down to a science on that. So that's worth the actual watch.
So, why do I have a problem with that? Seems all positive, right? Well, not quite. You see, context matters. And while I always try to minimize how much of a video I use, I always maintain context. So if someone says I changed it, I just dare them to show anything I left out which would alter their meaning. No one has ever been able to do so. But context isn't limited to just a single video. You see, Heidi's statement that said, scripted or not, should strike you as a rather odd inclusion. Who talks like that? What difference does it make if it is or is not scripted? Clearly it must make a difference to Heidi, and that is where the full context comes in. Remember, as I have documented on a number of my videos, Heidi has repeatedly made an issue of P's videos being scripted, as if it is inferior and easier than live streams. Of course, Heidi can't actually show why either is true, but Heidi gets much worse. For example, she has repeatedly claimed that someone else writes P's scripts, even though P has an entire video where she describes how she creates her videos, including writing her own scripts. Heidi doesn't stop there. She also claims the scripts are written by an American and that it is a man. Yet Heidi has no way of knowing any such thing. Not only that, but she has also said that P has a lot of people working for her, including, in addition to a scriptwriter, someone who does the actual editing of the video, and a camera person. I don't know how many others Heidi imagines, but I consider a lot to be more than 3. But the fact is, the only crew P has is, sometimes, a camera person. Because a lot of her videos can't be done by her holding the camera herself or placing it in a stationary position. P has, on occasion, hired workers for projects, like building someone a home, but that isn't part of creating the videos themselves. Frankly, in spite of Heidi's claim that she isn't jealous of P, this is exactly the kind of made-up stuff I'd expect from someone who is jealous. The clips from the next video involve both Heidi and George, who seem to be a bit annoyed that there are some channels doing videos criticizing them, which is odd considering how much they criticize others, including P. So here they're talking about troll channels targeting them.
They basically just have a few hundred people on their channel. They just want to talk about us.
As for wanting to talk about them, well, I can't speak for channels who haven't even been named, but I do it because I don't like people who spread falsehoods. They are free to do so, of course, and I'm free to point it out. Symmetry. And I have criticized around 20 different channels. How often depends on how often they behave like trolls or gossips, sort of like cause and effect. Then George jumps in.
Dude, pick on somebody else. Like, why are you picking on us?
But they pick on people, so stop whining.
Dude, don't you guys have anything better to do? Why don't you troll somebody bigger or something?
Again, without knowing who they are talking about, I can only speak for myself. I don't react to trolls and gossips based on their audience size. I've reacted to channel sizes ranging from 59 subscribers to tens of thousands. It's what they say that I care about, not the channel size.
They're bored, they have nothing to do all day, and they really don't do nothing but scripted shit, and they get credit and simps.
Well, I have lots of other things to do, even if you only count making videos. I have probably 100 or so videos on political and social issues saved to react to, which I do when I'm not dealing with trolls and gossips. But since I really don't like dishonest people, I tend to prioritize those videos. Heidi then bounces off a comment to make more assumptions.
He said those large YouTube channels that are trolling, they have run out of content. Yeah, and they're going broke and they're narcissistic.
Again, speaking for myself, I have a pile of videos to react to, so, not running out of content. Nor am I broke. I spend a fraction of my income each month and have plenty invested. I also don't think Heidi should be calling others narcissistic. But let's feel sorry for Heidi.
And they pick on my meds, my size, that I'm really not disabled. And I'm like, who the fuck would pick on that? I mean, you think I want to make this shit up? I mean, come on. I'd come up with something way fucking better if I was making some shit up, man.
I certainly don't approve of those personal attacks. To me, they just weaken the legitimate criticisms. I really like the comment at the end, though, where she says if she was making some shit up, she would come up with something better. And Heidi has done that. Like making up the claim that the Philippine P has someone else writing and editing her scripts, and has a lot of people in a crew working for her. Or pushing gossip that P may be getting paid by the government. With all that in mind, consider this.
And people will just keep spreading that. We're talking about some political stuff and everything that's going on. There's so much stuff. And then once one person sees it, they just continue to spread the.
Some of the gossips and trolls I deal with just lack self-awareness. You see, Heidi made a true statement. If a false claim is made, once others see it, they continue to spread it, and suddenly it is accepted as fact when it is really a lie, which is why I don't tolerate trolls and gossips. The problem is that Heidi and George are guilty of doing that very thing, like when they say they are just repeating what some of their fans have sent them. No facts needed. Just make something up, send it to the Philippine Antics, and if it's juicy enough gossip, they'll spread it around. So, yeah, Heidi lacks self-awareness. And yes, I've documented this in my other videos.
We just don't cover gossip on top of gossip. We'll cover our own gossip and say our own shit. But we don't go ripping after YouTube channels that aren't sitting there doing a bunch of shit that is totally against being an expat here. We're not that dark troll channels. When we mention something, it's because their dumb asses bring it up themselves.
If you think about her words, you'd have to guess exactly what they mean. Might have been a good time to script it in advance so it could be made clearer, especially since we know they spread gossip themselves, all documented in my other videos and not just about the Philippine P. As for that last part about Antics addressing things other channels brought up themselves, well, P never said anyone wrote or scripted her videos except herself, yet Heidi claimed otherwise. Nor did P say anything about being paid by the government, yet Heidi has promoted that idea too. So, yeah, I guess she can make up lots of interesting things. Time for the last video. Notice, to start with, that Heidi recommends a number of P's videos, like one about some Filipinas having Western attitudes.
Even the Philippine P and others talk about how, independent and how the women are changing here in the Philippines.
And this one, about how Filipinas have been changing.
You guys don't think the Filipinos haven't changed here in the last 5 to 10 years? Of course they have. Go watch the Philippine P. She spills all the tea.
So, again, recommending the Philippine P. But Heidi's statement is also misleading, sounding like Filipinas are just like Western women now. In fact, in a prior video I made, I showed Antics saying women are the same everywhere, the classic women are women comment. But they aren't. There is a huge difference in saying you can find specific behavior in the Philippines that you also have in the West, compared to saying they are the same. I've said before that I could point to students in 2 high schools, maybe 30 miles apart. They are clearly different as a group. Yet everything you could see in one school, you could see in the other. But the balance was very different. Things are changing in the Philippines, sure. Maybe someday they'll be the same as the West. But today is not that day. Another one.
You're leading with your wallet. That's the biggest thing. Because if you take that away, you think these Filipinas, go watch Filipina P's latest thing where she talks about the dating these older men and stuff.
Again, recommending P's video. But Heidi also gets this wrong too, because while money matters, it wasn't the only thing that mattered. Even George talked about it not being the only thing. P's videos have also shown Filipinas being interested in a foreigner for his broader life experience, his maturity, his openness, etc. Even when it comes to money, there is the question of how much money. It obviously takes far less to attract the interest of a Filipina than it does to attract an American woman in general. However, Heidi can never just say nice things about P, so we get this as she reacts to one of the comments in the chat.
She's always been that way. He's saying that P is trying to be an American progressive woman, not flattering.
P has always been like an American progressive woman? That is absurd. Over and over again, P has spoken out against such women and even explained why such women were wrong. Way to promote false gossip, Heidi.
There's a lot of Filipinas here that are independent. The Filipina P's always been that.
Obviously, since P is single and earning her own money, she is independent. But while that can sound like a red flag, it only does so for people who don't think things through. You see, there's nothing about being independent that makes one a progressive American woman or a feminist. You have to separate a situation where a woman is single and when they are married. Being able to provide for yourself when single is a good thing. But I know many such independent women who, once they got married, stuck with traditional marriage roles, even if they continued having a job. They treat their income as part of the family income rather than their own. And while they may, and should, give their opinions on decisions to be made, they still recognize that the husband makes the final decision if there isn't agreement. I don't know of any man who would view such a woman as independent in a negative way. But then we get back to Heidi making things up.
She's tried to appear that she's shy, innocent.
But does P try to appear shy and innocent? Not hardly. She may be shy, but certainly doesn't appear that way in her videos. And if she is, I would point out that there are comedians who say they are shy normally, but are able to overcome that in their shows. As for trying to appear innocent, P uses a lot of double entendres, sometimes sexy outros, all of which have been criticized by, trolls like Heidi. You can't make those criticisms and also claim P is trying to appear innocent. P does present a positive, friendly attitude and personality, but that isn't the same thing as innocent. P also obviously cares about her fans as she responds to a lot of the comments, both on YouTube as well as Patreon. And not the standard stuff, she personalizes them. So yeah, we appreciate her efforts.
But you guys do realize that P has traveled the world before she did this channel.
Does Heidi mean that traveling P has told us about herself? While it is true that P has been to other countries before starting her channel, saying she had traveled the world is misleading. She did go to the UK, but other than that, she just went to some other countries close by in Southeast Asia, which often costs very little to go to. But why make this an issue anyway? Especially since P has been open about it. What about this crap?
She also had other jobs that I would love to disclose, but it ain't about barking that out.
Ooh, sounds like Heidi has juicy negative gossip, especially when she uses her fingers to put other jobs in quotes. But how would Heidi know anything about this? Is it another example of her getting unsupported gossip from others who actually don't know? Or maybe some ex-boyfriend has contacted Heidi because he's still mad? Of course, since we know Heidi will promote gossip from people who have no first-hand information, she sure would automatically believe whatever negative stuff an ex-boyfriend would claim. One thing we can be sure of is that some of Heidi's followers will happily spread this vague reference about P's jobs. Remember, Heidi pointed out the problem of such things herself when it could hurt her. Just not a self-aware woman. For the record, P has told us about her jobs. In elementary school, she sold homemade candies and jewelry. In college, she worked at an electronics store and McDonald's. After college, she did call center work. Pre-COVID, she took massage training until the lockdown and then started YouTube. But Heidi spouts more crap.
And the other part of it is she's had all different types of foreigners that she's dated and everything before she brought herself up out of what they would call, province, poverty and all that.
All different types of foreigners? What the heck does that even mean? And so what anyway? This is old lady gossip stuff with no merit. We know P has dated foreigners starting about 15 years ago. No doubt she has dated more than one. In fact, she has said so. But so what? And what is all different types? Different races, nationalities, cultures, personalities? It literally doesn't matter to rational people who don't gossip. Or maybe Heidi is just going to buy into the empty claims of some other gossip. She's done it before, documented on my channel for your convenience. Maybe Heidi is believing someone like Big Head Larry. I covered his lies in an early video. He fooled a lot of fools. He claimed he dated the Philippine P and used that supposed experience to trash her and her family. Just one little problem. He never even met P. But the trolls and gossips immediately said that he would certainly know if he dated P, thus he should be believed. However, there was another person who would certainly know, and that was P. She responded to a comment about it and said she never met him. So, two people claiming first-hand knowledge, but both can't be right. The trolls and gossips, people who think like Heidi, automatically believed Big Head. Gossips want to believe negative things. It's a gossip's cash crop. But I took the time to research it as I described on this channel, following Big Head's own instructions on where we'd see them together in specific locations in his videos. Turns out that Big Head's own videos proved he was dating a different girl on a different island, meeting family members who were not P's family. Places he specifically said he was with P, he was actually with this other girl. In every video during the time he claimed to have dated P, it was always the same girl who was not P. Yet even when the video proof was provided, the gossips and trolls still said they believed him because they are either stupid or evil. Besides, Heidi has dated different kinds of foreigners herself, married and been divorced. I don't see Heidi as holding some sort of higher ground to make an issue of who people date.
She's always been strong-willed. And the foreigners even tried to control like what she's done, her careers and everything else. It's all out there, guys. Believe me, we know a lot more about that.
Nothing wrong with a single woman being strong-willed. For the record, while the Bible teaches submission, the submission is only to her husband, not anyone else. And a strong-willed woman can do that, just as an independent woman can. No problem here. And what the heck is this about foreigners trying to control what she's done? Is this an extension of the made-up claim that someone else scripts and edits her videos to now be that those people control her? I've seen that very claim many times elsewhere, and, as usual, there is nothing to back it up. I doubt Heidi knows a lot more about that, but I'm pretty sure she can make stuff up or promote the gossip she got from others. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.